at my Jesus' knee, I guarantee you he knows the road is rough, the going gets tough, the hills are hard to climb. Look up for you. Hold on, don't you ever let go. The Jesus leads, I guarantee you he knows. Say, hold on, don't you ever let go. Say, hold on.
Yes, and good morning and welcome to Conversation with Robert Bovell. Of course, I'm not Robert Bovell. My name is Dwight L. Davis, and I will be sitting in for Mr. Bovell, who is enjoying some time with his son out and about. Let me just say this. I need to make a disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed here this morning are not expressly those of the producer. Those views are Dwight L. Davis's in their entirety. Welcome this morning to a conversation that I hope to engage with you concerning a very, very exciting program that was held at the Muslim Center of Wilmington, 2102 Northeast Boulevard, last Saturday, December the 15th. The Muslim Center of Wilmington hosted an educational forum which was entitled Empowering Parents as Teachers. This was probably the most profound, well-attended educational forum that I can say that I've been a part of for some time. I'd like to immediately begin to extend my thanks and appreciation to those who attended. Number one, the Honorable State Senator Margaret Rose Henry. I thank you, Senator Henry, for your participation in this forum. The Honorable State Representative Stephanie T. Bolden. We thank Stephanie Bolden of the 2nd Representative District for her participation and attendance at this forum. But we also want to thank some other individuals, namely, we want to give a great thanks to Dr. Freeman Williams, the superintendent of the Christina School District. We want to thank Ed Mayfield, who also assisted him, and Mrs. Whitney Williams, who is in control and in charge of the Parents Advisory Council. We want to give a warm thank you to Reverend Dr. Benjamin Twinbee Brown, CCC. We thank Reverend Brown for him providing video services. And we want to thank also Talib Salam of the Muslim Center of Wilmington, who's also a videographer. And a warm thanks goes out to Mrs. Denise Frazier, Denise English. We thank her so much. A to Z Tutoring. She participated, and it was a wonderful, wonderful program. And we also want to immediately give thanks out to those that prepared the food. We had soup, homemade soup, and sandwiches were given out to the community. So this was just a wonderful day. And those of you that attended, the place was jam-packed. The Muslim Center can easily hold 200 people. And we're not saying that it was 200 there, but it was jam-packed and everybody was participating. Let's discuss education. First of all, I'd like to formally introduce myself. Dwight L. Davis, tell you a little bit about me. Dwight L. Davis, I am a Moorish American. I am a Moorish American Muslim. And I'm starting off by saying that because it's important for you to understand the times that we're in and the times where we've come from. Moors inhabited Spain. During the time that Europe was in the Dark Ages, it was the Moors that came over from North Africa and began to bring science and education and culture and development into Europe. Europe was in a period at that time which was called the Dark Ages. And so this enlightenment that came into Europe by the Moors out of North Africa, Morocco, into Spain is what began the Renaissance in Europe. Now, what did the Moors contribute to this Renaissance in Europe? They brought in not only mathematics. If you begin to look and research the sciences, you will notice that the Moors were responsible for bringing in and introducing the concept of zero. Why is that important? It's important because before the concept of zero was introduced, the Romans began to use Roman numerals. You know, IV 4 and 1 II 2 and X equal 10. This was their way of counting. This was their counting system. But when the Moors began to introduce the concept of zero, then we had what is called algebraic numerals. They still use the same term today. So then we were able to do very complex calculations in mathematics, and they introduced astronomy and all of the sciences. So as a result of that, the light began to shine. The light was turned on in Europe, and here we are up to where we are today. And I'm saying that to say this. The city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, and the United States of America, there is under a dark cloud. We see violence, we see rapes and murders and robberies, and it almost appears as though the light is about to go out in the country and in our communities. And what can bring on and keep on the light is education. So this educational forum that we had was designed to do one thing, and that was empower parents to become educators. Empowering parents as educators to educate our children. And it's not a coincidence that the Christina School District was just recently found guilty of violating the federal statute of Title VI. They were found guilty, and I'll read it, so therefore we'll know that this is exactly what it says. It says, "Dear Dr. Williams, this is to inform you of the resolution of this compliance review of the Christina School District initiated by the U.S. Department of Education, the Office for Civil Rights, on March 19, 2010, under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 42 U.S.C. Section 2000, and its implementing regulations at 34 CFR. What, in fact, was discovered in conducting this review, that the district's discipline policies and practices, the Office of Civil Rights examined, the district's written policies and procedures reviewed, including individual student disciplinary records from 27 district schools, and conducted interviews with district administrators, teachers, counselors, resource officers, support staff, and community members. It says, based on our investigation, we conclude that the district has violated Title VI. Our investigation identified examples where African American students engaging in virtually identical behavior than white students were punished more harshly than white students who had the same or worse disciplinary history. A statistical analysis of all students referred for discipline for the first time, based on the district's own records and categorizations, found that African Americans were at least twice as likely to receive a suspension, either an in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension, than white students for violations of similar severity. At this particular time, I think you need to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. Those parents and students who attend Bancroft Elementary School, Stubbs Elementary School, Albert Palmer Elementary School, and Byard School and Pulaski, they need to really pay close attention, because at these specific schools where children from the city of Wilmington attend, the U.S. Department of Education, the Office of Civil Rights, found that your children, African American children, were treated more harshly in referrals for discipline, sanctions imposed by category, out-of-school suspensions, expulsions, and referrals to law enforcement. Should I read that again? I think I will. Referrals for discipline, sanctions imposed by category, out-of-school suspensions, expulsions, and referrals to law enforcement. These are elementary school children in the inner city. Now, I'm not here to bash Dr. Williams, because when Dr. Williams received this report, he immediately made himself available to the educational forum at the Muslim Center of Wilmington. That's important to say, because you read a little bit about it in the news journal. You might have read some about it with J Street's op-ed piece. But what you have not read is that on December the 15th, all of these individuals, our state senator, our state representative, the representative of the tutoring program, A to Z, parents, the Christina School District, we all came together and began to address these issues. And we wanted to come up with a solution as to what to do about these particular issues. Education is so important for our children. Let me read this. In 2008 to 2009, African American students were more harshly penalized compared to white students for first offenses of inappropriate behavior, defiance of school authority, disruption of the educational process, and tardiness late to class. African American students were 74.2% of the students who incurred a first offense of disruption of the educational process, but 86.3% of the students who received out-of-school suspensions for the first offense. Out-of-school suspensions for the first offense, our children, African American children, were 86.3% of those that were put out of school. Now, you explain to me, what can an elementary school child do that you're going to put them out of school while still collecting the money that we spend, the taxpayers spend, to educate our children? Let's go to the second offense. Disruption of the educational process, tardiness late to class. African